Hello, my name's John Stewart Lashenko, and I'm doing a video this evening of my mother's needlepoint that she created in 1974, 75, 76. And the needlepoint depicts our family farm in Grand Prairie, Texas. The name of the farm was the Riverview Farm, as a beautiful farm with beautiful buildings and beautiful people. Let me show you around the farm. This is the main house on the farm, and as you can see, it's surrounded by a beautiful rose garden, and the roses climb trellis up the side of the building up to the roof line and beyond. There's also a very large front yard that also is surrounded by roses, and I'll come up closer so you can see the fine handcrafting that my mom did on creating each individual little rose on this needlepoint. So we have rows and rows of roses, and this is the way it was on the farm in 1920. So you can see there was a large patch of green grass in the front of the house. The house had the lower story, looks like the room off to the left, the main entry hall, and then possibly the kitchen off to the side with ornate detail on the roof line, and a second story again with a very pretty ornate railing at the very roof line. And as I pan up to the right, we can see the water windmill that generated water for the ranch. And then we can see one of the main livestock barns. This was used for many of the animals that were on the ranch, from horses to cattle to goats to sheep. Just about every farm animal you can imagine were on the ranch at that time. The ranch extended out. Over on this border we see rows of trees. These trees, I understand, were a combination of fruit trees and nut trees, and they harvested the fruit and the nuts at various times of the year. Again, a close-up will show you the detail on the needlepoint. You go along with the roses to the picket fence, further along to the roses, and then down below we have the single tree, which is on the waterway. It comes up to a bridge, and then we see the entryway into Riverview Farm. Then as I pan rather, to the left, we see the other barn building. This was used for multiple uses. The tools and so forth were kept in this particular building with the hay and other types of farm equipment. There's a water trough down at the bottom. Again, we see the roses and then the bushes going on up. We look in detail, we can see what Mom did with the needlework with a fence that goes right up to the side of this particular barn. Then as we go up to the top of the needlepoint, we see 1, 2, 3, 4 outbuildings and 2 wells, and these buildings were used for the farm workers, the people that actually worked the ranch. The ranch, as I understand it, actually began in the late 1800s, so this ranch was a working ranch farm for all those years. And this was my mom here. I think she was about 4 or 5 years old. So this would have been 1920. And this is from her memory of this beautiful, beautiful ranch farm in Grand Prairie, Texas. The people here at the time were the Hall family. I believe they were the ones that originated the ranch. The main person was Edwin Hall, who married Mary Crane. So then Mary Crane Hall, Edwin Hall, and Mary Crane Hall then had Robert Hall and Lois Hall and also Calvert Hall. So from there, Lois Hall gave birth to my mom after, of course, marrying Robert B. Stewart. She married Robert B. Stewart and gave birth to Patricia Stewart. And then after Patricia, along came John Stewart. That would be me. If we look further down the family tree, we can see Calvert Hall gave birth to Mary Louise Hall, Billy Ruth Hall, Juanita Hall, Calvert Hall Jr., Donald C. Hall, and Robert Lee Hall. And then as we look further down, we see a Julianne Hall, and then from there we see a Catherine A. Walsh. I was researching the family tree when I was lucky enough to come across Catherine Walsh, who helped fill me in other details of our family and our family tree. And it's been fascinating exploring our family tree. And then I just had to try to find the farm, and there it is. Lo and behold, I discovered I had it put away in a very special place to treasure it for the rest of my life, and then hopefully my children will treasure this as much as I have. So there you have our farm, the Riverview Farm in Grand Prairie, Texas. Thank you very much.